When billionaires get angry, they can go to some extreme lengths to get their revenge.
And that was a big mistake.
From punishing reporters to getting an entire publication shut down.
You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN.
These are the most outrageous instances of billionaires humiliating the media. If you haven't heard about Peter Thiel's secret war against the online publication Gawker, then listen to this. The tech billionaire / right-wing politician backer got offended way back in 2007, and he never let it go. What did Gawker do to piss him off? They said that Peter Thiel was gay. In an article, one writer said, "I think it's important to say this. Peter Thiel, the smartest VC in the world, is gay. More power to him." The thing is, Peter Thiel is gay, and he's not afraid to talk about it.
I am proud to be gay.
But that doesn't mean he was cool with being outed back in 2007. But what really made him lose it was that Gawker's founder, Nick Denton, who also happens to be gay, left this comment. He said, "The only thing that's strange about Thiel's sexuality, why on earth was he so paranoid about its discovery for so long?" Peter Thiel saw that as an attack. In fact, he jumped to the conclusion that Gawker was saying he had psychological issues. Call him thin-skinned, but either way, that launched a war that eventually would lead to a devastating lawsuit involving a sex tape featuring wrestling's biggest star, none other than Hulk Hogan. Stick with me here because things are about to get steamy. You see, in 2006, Hogan and his wife were having some marital issues. Hogan's best buddy, the radio DJ known as Bubba the Love Sponge, goes way beyond typical best friend cheering up duties. He invited Hulk Hogan to sleep with his wife. The only thing is, he didn't tell Hogan that he was going to film it. Fast forward to 2012, and another radio DJ breaks into Bubba's radio station, steals the tape, and leaks it to Gawker. And if you're Gawker, what are you going to do? Not publish the sex tape? Of course not! It's scandalous celebrity news, which means lots of website visits and a big payday. So, they publish it. The truth is, they expect Hogan will try to sue, but Gawker think they're good. They've got the resources to fight the case, and they're ready for him.
Very last question. Do you think you should have published that Hulk Hogan sex videotape?
I think the story's fine.
But what they don't realize is that Hulk Hogan has a secret weapon, Peter Thiel. You see, Thiel never forgot about that comment that Gawker published back in 2007. And from behind the scenes, he orchestrates an A-level legal attack on Gawker that takes them completely by surprise. Gawker thought they could just drag out the legal proceedings for as long as possible, basically bleeding Hogan of all of his funds. But that strategy does nothing against a billionaire. Eventually, news got out about the shadowy figure bankrolling Hogan's defense.
Thiel confirmed last week that he secretly spent about $10 million bankrolling lawsuits against Gawker.
Hogan ended up winning a $115 million settlement, making that 2006 encounter a very profitable romp in the hay. And Gawker clearly did not win much sympathy from the jury because they added an extra $25.1 million in punitive damages. Hogan and Gawker ended up settling for just $31 million, but that was still enough to put the kibosh on Gawker Media. They had to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, meaning in this case, the billionaire won.
Ever since Peter Thiel set his sights on the destruction of Gawker.com, this has been sort of inevitable.
It's pretty crazy that a billionaire has enough power to get an entire publication shut down, but that doesn't make individual attacks on reporters any less startling to watch. I'm talking about the showdown between Donald Trump and CNN White House reporter Jim Acosta. Trump has a famously fiery relationship with some parts of the media. He's also famous for shutting down reporters and treating them like children.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
Put those things together, and you have a recipe for this.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to challenge you on one of the statements that you made in the tail end of the campaign in the midterms.
Here we go.
Yeah, things got heated even before Jim Acosta asked his question about Trump's description of the migrant caravan that was reportedly approaching the United States' southern border in the fall of 2018.
You know, it happened a few days ago.
As he's asking his question, you can see that his time is coming to an end because the White House aide gets into position like she's ready to pounce on him. But Jim Acosta doesn't get the message.
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
After tussling with the White House aide, they managed to snatch the mic away from him.
In this investigation.
But the exchange is far from over.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN.
After putting Jim Acosta in his place, Trump starts lashing out left and right. He even calls Jim, a veteran reporter, an enemy of the people. After being put in his place in front of millions of people, the White House then stripped him of his White House press pass. Ouch! And he was just trying to do his job. But sometimes when reporters get humiliated, it's kind of their own fault. I'm talking about the BBC interview that James Clayton did with Elon Musk, which ended up being a train wreck. I mean, you almost feel bad for the guy. Except that he really brought it on himself. He tries to make the claim that he's seen a rise in hate speech on his Twitter feed. But then Elon asks him to elaborate on what he means.
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is...
Elon clearly senses weakness, and he calls BS.
Honestly, I don't...
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why, because I don't actually use that For You feed anymore, because I just don't particularly like it.
So, the reporter has seen a rise in hate speech on a Twitter feed that he hasn't used since Elon took over?
And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well...
That's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
But the reporter's nightmare doesn't end there. After talking with Elon for nearly an hour, he tries to end the live interview saying that Elon Musk is a very busy guy. But Elon is having way too much fun to stop. He starts asking questions from viewers on Twitter Spaces for the next half hour. At this point, James Clayton has already stopped interviewing Elon. But he posts this on Twitter. Okay, so usually the interviewee leaves the interview. Elon Musk now taking questions on Spaces. But the damage was already done.
It's honestly hard to watch. That guy messed up so bad.
Like I said, you almost feel bad for the guy. But let's be honest, he dug his own grave. Okay, so we've seen that billionaires can make reporters look like fools when they want to. But with this next billionaire, he really took things to the next level, suing CNN for $50 million, all because of one thing a news anchor said. I'm talking about the Chinese billionaire Guo Wengui, who got offended by Erin Burnett's description of him as an alleged spy on an episode of Out Front. Guo Wengui is a real estate developer who became super wealthy in China before leaving in 2014 to come to the United States. Since coming to the United States, Guo Wengui has talked some serious trash about the Chinese government, which got him placed on their most wanted list. And his strong anti-China views have won him some pretty powerful friends, like Steve Bannon.
Has aligned himself with the American right.
When the Chinese government demanded that the U.S. deport Guo, even Donald Trump stepped in to protect him, although apparently it was because he's a member of Mar-a-Lago. In any case, Guo Wengui has gone from a Chinese exile to a full-fledged alt-right conspiracy theorist. He even started his own media company, GTV.
Guo live streams every day.
On his news outlets GTV and G News.
He has a platform to spread his unorthodox ideas about things like election fraud, vaccine safety.
You haven't had the vaccine?
No, I want to kill myself. I don't want the vaccine.
A bunch of his followers were even down at the Capitol the day of the January 6th riots.
To storm the Congress.
But why would Erin Burnett call Guo Wengui an alleged spy if he's so vehemently against the Chinese government? Apparently, it was because a private intelligence firm looking into the matter found that Guo Wengui was a dissident hunter, propagandist, an agent in the service of the People's Republic of China. Which is understandable considering his friendly relationship with one of China's top intelligence officers and his strange, paranoid behavior, like hiring way too many security guards, to the point that the neighbors in his New York City apartment complained they were blocking up the lobby. Fortunately for CNN and Erin Burnett, nothing came of Guo Wengui's lawsuit. But recently, Guo Wengui himself has been accused of stealing $1 billion from his followers in a giant case of fraud and money laundering.
According to authorities, Guo cheated thousands by promising outsized investment returns, but diverted much of their money to fund lavish lifestyles for himself and his family.
In this case, it looks like it's the billionaire who's getting a dose of humiliation as he deals with the U.S. legal system.